My name is Hannah Walker, and I'm 35 years old. If you had asked me a year ago what my life looked like, I would have said something boring like busy, stable, nothing dramatic. I had the kind of life you don't make movies about: joint Costco membership, a mortgage in both our names, arguments about whose turn it was to take out the trash. I thought that was a good thing. My boyfriend, Ryan Mitchell, and I had been together for 8 years. We met in college, did the whole survive finals together, share cheap pizza on the floor thing, then moved into our first crappy apartment with peeling linoleum and a shower that whistled when you turned it on. 3 years ago, we bought a modest house in the suburbs: beige siding, small backyard, one squeaky fence gate. Nothing impressive, but it was ours. We had a running joke that the house was our starter marriage before the real one. We were engaged in everything but paperwork and rings. We talked about kids someday, after promotions, after the house was fully furnished, after life settled down. Someday always felt far away, which made it easy to romanticize. If you had told me that the thing that would blow up our life wasn't a catastrophic accident or some tragic illness, but his high school ex-girlfriend and a very shiny Instagram account, I would have laughed. I'm not laughing now. It started 3 months before everything fell apart. We were in the kitchen on a Tuesday night, the kind of forgettable evening where the sky is gray and the dishwasher hums. I was standing at the counter, oiling the surface of the dining table I'd refinished myself. My pride and joy, solid oak I'd sanded and stained over 3 weekends. Ryan was scrolling on his phone at the island. "Oh, wow," he said suddenly. "Guess who just moved back to town?" "Jeff Bezos," I said automatically. "He heard about your amazing scrambled eggs?" Ryan smirked. "Vanessa, from high school." He didn't have to clarify which Vanessa. I'd heard stories. First love, on again, off again drama. They'd planned to move to LA after graduation until something fell apart at the last minute. "Vanessa King?" I asked. "Yeah. Apparently she's some kind of real estate investor now, doing really well. She just posted a story from downtown. Same skyline, same ugly clock tower." He turned the phone toward me. There she was. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, glass of champagne in one hand, city lights blurred behind her like a movie. "Good for her," I said, wiping excess oil off the table. "People can change zip codes." He laughed and put his phone down. "Yeah, wild though." At the time, it felt like a fun little small world moment. I didn't feel threatened. Why would I? We had a house, shared bills, a joint savings account labeled future, and 8 years of inside jokes. The next mention was a few days later. "We grabbed coffee to catch up," he said casually while rinsing dishes. "Just a quick thing. She wanted to hear about the old crew." "You had coffee with her?" I tried to sound neutral. "Yeah, it was no big deal. Two adults catching up. She's different now, confident. She bought a place in the city. You should see the view." I hummed, non-committal, as I loaded plates into the dishwasher. Coffee turned into lunch. "She's taking me to this new place downtown," he said, adjusting his watch. "Her treat. She says the owner owes her a favor." Then lunch turned into dinner. "We're just friends, obviously," he said when I raised an eyebrow at his new button-down shirt. "You know you're the one I come home to." The thing about slow changes is that you don't always notice the first few degrees. You just wake up one day and realize you don't recognize the person across from you. He started dressing nicer, not just for dinners, but for running errands. New cologne I hadn't picked. A gym membership he suddenly cared about. Our conversations shifted too, less about our weekend plans, more about opportunities. "Vanessa's killing it," he said one night, scrolling through his phone on the couch. "She got in early on some real estate deals. She's talking about passive income. You would love her spreadsheets." I said, eyes on the TV but not really watching. "She thinks I'm playing it too safe," he added. "Says I have the brains to do more than a 9 to 5. "I like your 9 to 5, I replied. "It pays our mortgage." He didn't laugh. A week later, on a Wednesday, he came home late from one last drink and sat down at the dining table, the one I'd refinished, the wood glowing softly under the pendant light. "We need to talk," he said. Classic opener. My stomach dropped anyway. "Okay," I said, setting my phone face down. "Talk." He exhaled slowly like he'd been rehearsing. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," he began. "About us, about our relationship, and I think we committed too young." "We were 27, I said. "We weren't exactly teenage elopers." "Exactly," he said, like I'd proven his point. "We went straight from college to living together, then straight to buying a house. We never really explored, figured out who we were separately." I stared at him. The dishwasher hummed in the background. The oil I'd rubbed into the table that morning caught the light, highlighting every grain. And now? I asked. I'm 35 and realizing there's so much I missed out on, he said. Experiences, people, chances. I feel like I've been on autopilot. I let the silence stretch. Part of me wanted to argue, to remind him of the nights we stayed up talking about our future, the trips we took, the life we built. Another part of me felt an odd, cold clarity. Is this about Vanessa? I asked quietly. His jaw tightened. This isn't about her. It's about me. About us. We're not right together anymore. Right, I said. And what does not right look like? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you going out with another woman who just happens to be your ex. He looked genuinely pained. Hannah, I care about you. I always will. But I think we should separate. Maybe sell the house. Split everything. I need to figure out who I am outside of this. I stared at the table instead of his face. My fingers traced a knot in the wood I'd chosen to keep visible instead of sanding flat. Imperfection felt honest. Okay, I said. He blinked. Okay? Yeah, I repeated. If that's how you feel, then okay. We'll separate. We'll sell the house. We'll split everything. His surprise was almost insulting. You're just agreeing? You're sitting here telling me you don't want to be in this relationship anymore, I said. You've been going out with another woman for weeks. What exactly am I supposed to fight for? I just thought you'd care more, he muttered. I care enough not to drag this out, I replied. You want out, you're out. You're being really cold about this, he said. You want me to cry and beg? I asked. That's not happening. You made your choice. I'm respecting it. That conversation happened on a Wednesday night. By Friday, I'd spoken to a lawyer about how to unwind a life that wasn't technically a marriage, but might as well have been. Co-owned house, joint savings, shared furniture, all the invisible threads you don't think about until you're cutting them. We agreed to sell the house and split the profit evenly. Joint savings? Split. He kept his car. I kept mine. No kids, no pets, just assets and history. I kept one thing non-negotiable, the dining table. The lawyer raised an eyebrow when I insisted it be listed as mine. I built it, I said simply. He never wanted it anyway, called it too rustic. Ryan moved out 2 weeks later. He said he was staying with a friend for now. His Instagram told a different story when, 1 month later, his relationship status changed to in a relationship, and he tagged Vanessa King. The comments rolled in. Meant to be. High school sweethearts back together. So happy you two found your way back. I sat alone in my small, half-empty living room, phone in hand, the glow of the screen reflecting off the tabletop I'd brought with me. I didn't like the way my chest ached, but I did like one thing. For the first time in 8 years, my life was entirely my own. The house sold faster than I expected. Apparently, cozy starter home with potential is real estate code for you'll have 10 offers in 3 days. After the mortgage and fees, we each walked away with around 85 grand. It was the kind of number that used to represent our future together. Kids, a bigger place, maybe a deck out back. Now it was just a wire transfer and an email receipt. Ryan took the living room set and most of the decor. I took the bedroom furniture and my workshop tools, the things he'd always called my hobby clutter. The movers treated my clamps and saws like they were junk. I hovered until they wrapped each piece. I moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment closer to my job. No yard, no garage, but it had a covered balcony big enough for a workbench. I set the dining table near the window where the afternoon light hit it just right. The first night there, I ate leftover Chinese takeout over that table and listened to the hum of traffic instead of Ryan's snoring. The emptiness was loud, but so was the quiet relief. Life rearranged itself. Without a house to maintain and a boyfriend to tiptoe around, I had more time than I knew what to do with. I started spending evenings sketching furniture designs, watching woodworking videos, and sanding small pieces of scrap wood just to keep my hands moving. I posted a picture of my dining table on social media with a simple caption, "Refinish this myself. Oak, hand-sanded, custom stain." I didn't think much of it. A friend messaged me, "Could you make something like this for my sister? She just bought a condo." We worked out a price that felt both terrifying and too low. I spent 2 weekends building her a smaller, square version with matching benches. When I delivered it, she ran her hand along the edge like she was touching something precious. "People pay crazy money for stuff half this nice," she said. "You know that, right?" Word spread. A coworker wanted a coffee table. My neighbor asked about a bookshelf. I made an account for my little side hustle and posted progress shots. Clamps everywhere, stain on my forearms, sawdust on the balcony floor. It was nothing glamorous, but money started appearing in my account that had nothing to do with my day job. I liked that feeling. Income that was mine, earned with my hands, not attached to anyone else's decisions. Meanwhile, Ryan's life looked like a music video. I didn't follow him, but the internet is small when you share friends. His posts floated into my feed whether I wanted them or not. There he was, standing next to Vanessa in front of a sleek black Tesla, her arm looped through his, both of them in sunglasses despite overcast skies. Caption: leveling up with the right partner. There they were at a rooftop restaurant, city skyline sparkling behind them, 2 cocktails and a bottle of wine on the table. To new beginnings, she'd written, followed by a string of champagne emojis. Weekend getaways, designer shopping bags, hotel rooms with floor-to-ceiling windows. A watch on his wrist I knew he couldn't afford on his salary alone. The comments under every post made my jaw clench. "You look so happy, girl." "Power couple. This is the life you deserve." I muted him and Vanessa both. I told myself I didn't care, that I wasn't jealous. But sometimes, when the sawdust settled and the apartment felt too quiet, I caught myself wondering how someone could upgrade so fast. The answer came from an unexpected place. One Thursday evening, my phone lit up with a call from a number I hadn't seen in months. "Hi, Hannah," a familiar voice said when I answered. "It's Linda." "Ryan's mom." "Hey," I said carefully. "Everything okay?" There was a pause. I could picture her sitting at her kitchen table, twisting a napkin in her hands. "How are you?" she asked, and she actually sounded like she meant it. "I'm fine," I said, "staying busy." "That's good," she said. "I'm glad you're doing all right. You were always resourceful." The compliment felt strange, like trying on a sweater that used to be yours, but doesn't quite fit anymore. "Have you talked to Ryan?" she asked. "No," I said. "We don't really have anything to talk about." "He seems different," she murmured. "I can't put my finger on it. Says everything's great, but he's jumpy, stressed." "He's got his new life," I said. "Vanessa, the city, whatever that is. I'm sure they'll figure it out." Linda sighed, the sound carrying years of worry. "Between you and me," she added quietly, "I never liked that girl in high school. Something about her always felt off. All big dreams and no details." Interesting timing for that confession. "I appreciate you checking on me," I said, "but his choices are his now." "I know," she said. "I just wanted you to know you were a good partner to him, no matter what happens." After we hung up, I stood at my workbench, running a sanding block over the edge of a half-finished coffee table, and tried to shake off the chill that conversation left behind. I told myself it was none of my business. Life went on. I joined a woodworking co-op across town, an industrial warehouse turned shared shop space. For a small monthly fee, I got access to better tools than I could ever fit on my balcony: a heavy-duty table saw, planers, bandsaws, an entire wall of clamps. The first time I walked in, the smell of wood and machine oil hit me like a hug. People nodded, introduced themselves over the whine of sanders and the buzz of conversation. "Nice grain on that piece," one guy said, nodding at the board I was jointing. "Thanks," I replied. "It used to be an ugly dining table. Now it's 10 smaller lives waiting to happen." 2 evenings a week, the co-op became my sanctuary. No one there knew me as Ryan's ex. I was just the woman in the paint-splattered hoodie who cared too much about dovetail joints. It almost felt like the past life was a weird dream, until it walked straight into the hardware store one Saturday. I was in the wood stain aisle, comparing labels, when I spotted a man a few feet away staring at me like he was trying to place my face. "Hey," he said after a second. "You're Hannah, right?" I stiffened. "Do I know you?" "I think so," he said. "I used to work with Vanessa and Ryan, sort of." The air went thin. He introduced himself as Mark, a name I vaguely recognized from one of Ryan's stories about a guy Vanessa knew from a deal. "We met once at that bar on 5th, he said. "You were there for like 10 minutes before you had to leave." I remembered, vaguely. A loud place, sticky floors, Ryan pressing a drink into my hand while Vanessa held court at the end of the bar. "What can I do for you, Mark?" I asked, my voice polite but guarded. He glanced around, lowered his voice. "Look, I don't want to overstep, but I heard you two broke up, and that he's involved with her now." "Involved is one word for it," I said. "You dodged a bullet," he blurted out. I blinked. "Excuse me?" "Vanessa's business ventures," he said, making air quotes around the word business. "Sketchy as hell. I got mixed up in one of her real estate things. Barely got my initial investment back. Whole operation felt borderline illegal. My throat tightened. What kind of illegal? He shrugged, frustration flickering across his face. Hard to prove anything. She's smart. Keeps things just on the right side of plausible. But I'd bet good money she's running some kind of scheme. Everything's smoke and mirrors. The cars, the clothes, the restaurants. It's all debt and leverage, no actual foundation. And Ryan? I asked before I could stop myself. He hesitated. Last I heard, she convinced him to diversify. That's what she calls it. Getting people to pour cash into her opportunities. He looked in over his head. My fingers tightened around the can of stain until the metal edge dug into my palm. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because you looked blindsided that night at the bar, he said simply. And because I wish someone had warned me earlier. I got out with most of my money. Not everyone did. I swallowed. He made his choices. Yeah, Mark said. He did. He gave me a sympathetic look. For what it's worth, you seem better off. I watched him walk away, then stared at the rows of stain like they held an answer. I could have called Ryan. Could have sent a text. Be careful. Not what she seems. Could have forwarded every red flag, every unease I'd collected like lint. Instead, I walked to the register, bought my stain, and went home. On my balcony, as the sun dipped low and turned the city orange, I brushed the new color onto the wood and watched it sink in, transforming the surface slowly, quietly. Not my circus, I told myself, not my monkeys. But deep down, I had a feeling the show was just getting started. 2 weeks after that conversation in the hardware store, I woke up to my phone vibrating nonstop. Unknown caller, unknown caller, unknown caller. I let it ring out every time and buried myself deeper under the covers. It was Sunday, my one morning of the week I allowed myself to be useless. Eventually the buzzing stopped. Peace. Until it started again. This time, a voicemail popped up from an unrecognized number. Then a text. Please, it's urgent, just 1 hour. Coffee? Ryan. My stomach sank, sharp and instinctive, like standing too close to the edge of a cliff. I stared at the message long enough for the screen to dim. Then I turned the phone over and walked into the kitchen. I made coffee, I sliced fruit, I watered my balcony plants. I did everything except answer him. But the quiet was too heavy, too intentional. Something was wrong. 20 minutes later, the phone buzzed again. Same number. I answered this time. Hannah. Ryan's voice was small, shaky. Not the confident, city-living, designer-wearing version I'd silently resented for months. This voice belonged to the guy I once trusted with everything. What do you want? I asked, not unkindly, but not kindly either. Can we meet? He said. I can't explain over the phone. Then don't, I said. We're not together anymore, Ryan. Whatever this is. My phone got shut off, he cut in. I'm calling from a friend's. I really need to talk to you, please. Shut off. Those 2 words cracked something in me. Not sympathy, not nostalgia, just suspicion. Why was it shut off? I asked. Silence. Then, can we meet, please? 1 hour, a diner, public place. I exhaled slowly. I hated that it worked. Hated that curiosity, or maybe old history, tugged just enough to pull me out the door. Fine, I said, 1 hour. The diner was half empty when I walked in. Ryan sat in a booth by the window, hunched over a cup of black coffee he clearly wasn't drinking. He looked bad. Dark circles, hair unstyled, clothes wrinkled, no watch, no cologne, no designer anything. Like the shimmer of his new life had been scraped off. Hannah, he said as I slid into the booth across from him. His voice cracked on my name. What's going on? I asked. He swallowed hard. I made a mistake. I didn't say anything. I just waited. With her, with everything. Still nothing. My silence was more powerful than a lecture. He dragged a shaking hand through his hair. She said she had an investment opportunity. Real estate, short term, high yield, guaranteed return. My stomach nodded. I didn't breathe. I gave her, his voice broke. I gave her my half of the house money. I blinked slowly. You gave Vanessa $40,000. No, he whispered. 50. I stared at him, not with sympathy, with the kind of disbelief you feel when someone walks face first into a glass door you warned them about 16 times. Why? I asked. She showed me documents, he said quickly. Charts, contracts, testimonials. Said she doubled her last investor's money in 6 months. Said she'd let me in early. And you believed her? He flinched. I trusted her. Right, I said, leaning back, because she has such a solid track record with loyalty. He winced again, then forced himself to continue. I can't get the money back. She keeps saying the investment is locked until it matures. But it's been 2 months and I'm behind on everything. My phone got shut off. Rent is killing me. I only have $35 left. I let out a slow, tight breath. You moved in with her, I said. So why are you paying rent? He looked down. We got into a fight about the money. She said I was being needy. I left. Got my own place. Didn't want to look desperate. Oh, I said lightly. The irony. He gave a short, broken laugh that wasn't really a laugh. I know. You don't have to say it. Good, I said, because I wasn't planning to. He looked at me then, really looked at me. Eyes red, shame carved deep into every line of his face. I need help, he whispered. There it was. There it always is. I folded my hands on the table. Help how? Talk to her, he said quickly. You're reasonable, logical. She might listen to you, woman to woman, you know. Just explain that I really need the money back. I stared at him. Then I laughed. Not harshly, not cruelly, just disbelieving. You want me, I said slowly, to help you get back the money you invested with the woman you left me for. It wasn't, he stopped, defeated. Yes. No, I said simply. He blinked. Hannah. No, but I don't know what else to do. She won't answer my calls, won't talk to me. I'm drowning. Please, just talk to her. Get a lawyer, I said. This is fraud. I can't afford a lawyer. And that, I said, sliding out of the booth, is not my problem. He grabbed the edge of the table, like he needed something to hold on to. I know I hurt you. I know I screwed everything up, but I'm asking for help. And I'm saying no, I replied. I put a 20 on the table for both our coffees. Lose this number, I said calmly. We're done. I walked out before he could speak again. He called twice more that afternoon. I ignored both. By evening, a new number texted me. Answer your phone, please. Ryan. Another number, then another. Blocked. The next morning, I woke to a voicemail from his mother. Hannah, sweetheart, I know things ended badly, but Ryan is in trouble. Real trouble. He lost $50,000 to that girl. Please, just talk to him. I deleted the voicemail. 2 days later, a second one arrived. You're being cruel, she snapped. He needs help. You were always the responsible one. You can't just watch him fall apart like this. I deleted that one too. Then came the messages from his friends, his cousins, his coworker, all variations of, how can you be so heartless? He needs you. You're really going to do nothing? And finally, you must have really hated him. I turned off notifications for unknown numbers. I put my phone face down. I sanded the sharp corner off a piece of maple and reminded myself of something my therapist had said. People who don't respect your boundaries will always call them cruelty. A week later, just as the noise began to fade, everything exploded. Literally, on the morning news. I was at the woodworking co-op when my phone buzzed against the workbench. I didn't check it at first. I was teaching a newbie how to use a router without losing a finger. Surprisingly hard for some people. Slow and steady, I reminded him. Let the bit do the work. Don't force it. Then my phone buzzed again. And again. And again. By the 5th time, I sighed and wiped sawdust from my hands before checking the screen. Ethan, my brother, had sent one text. Turn on channel 7 right now. There are messages you ignore and messages you obey. This one, I obeyed. I opened the live stream on my phone and froze. The headline read, Local businesswoman arrested in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Under it, Vanessa's mugshot. Hair messy, makeup smeared, eyes empty in a way that punched the air out of me. I turned up the volume. Estimated over 15 victims. Fake real estate investment opportunities. Ponzi-style structure. 2 years of ongoing fraud. Total losses surpassing $800,000. I swallowed hard. The reporter continued. Authorities say several recent victims came forward after investments failed to produce returns. One source reports the suspect solicited funds from people she had personal relationships with. Personal relationships, meaning Ryan, meaning others. My stomach twisted. I watched as they replayed a clip of her being escorted into a police car, hands cuffed behind her back, the same wrists once stacked with gold bracelets and perfectly curated outfits. She hardly looked like the glamorous woman Ryan had metaphorically set fire to our life for, but reality rarely looks like Instagram. A moment later, my phone rang. I stepped outside the co-op into the winter air and answered. It was Linda, his mother. Her voice was raw. Hannah, did you see? I saw, I said quietly. She gave him $75,000, Linda whispered. Everything he had. Everything she convinced him to invest. The FBI says victims may only get back 30 cents on the dollar, if that. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry, Linda. That's all you have to say, she snapped. What do you want me to say? I asked gently. He trusted the wrong person. He ignored red flags. He made choices. He could lose everything, she cried. He can't pay rent. He can't pay off his credit cards. His credit score is ruined. He's falling apart. I'm not responsible for that, I said quietly. You could at least help him financially, she choked, just until he gets on his feet. And there it was, the real reason for the call. No, I said, calm, final. Hannah, he was your partner for 8 years. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything, I said, until he left. He made a mistake. We all make mistakes, I replied, but he made one after another, and another, and another, none of which included listening to me. Her voice trembled. You can't just watch him drown. I'm not watching anything, I said softly. I'm living my life. She inhaled on a sob. I hope you can live with yourself. And she hung up. I stared at my reflection in the co-op's glass door. Jaw tight, eyes tired. I didn't feel guilt. I felt sad. Sad that this was where life had led us. Sad that I'd spent 8 years building a foundation someone else walked away from in heels and champagne bubbles. Sad that the crash landing was this loud. But guilt? No. A few days passed. I threw myself into woodworking. A custom coffee table commission had me up late, carving delicate inlays into walnut. My hands stayed busy. My mind stayed focused. But the outside world didn't stay quiet. One evening, my phone lit up with a new message, this time from Elena, one of Ryan's close friends from years ago. Hey, I know things are complicated, but you should know what's really going on. Against my better judgment, I opened it. What she wrote made me sit down. Turns out Ryan hadn't told me everything. Vanessa hadn't just taken $50,000. She'd taken much more. He co-signed a luxury car for her, $800 months. He added her as an authorized user on his credit cards. She racked up $15,000 in charges. He loaned her an additional $10,000 short-term cash. Total $75 and counting. He never stood a chance. Elena wrote, she's done this before. 2 other men. 2 others this year alone. She promises big returns, drains them dry, then moves on. Ryan is completely destroyed financially. He's staying at his parents'. He barely leaves his room. He can't sleep. He can't eat. He's not okay. I stared at the message for a long, long time. But still, I felt nothing. Not spite. Not revenge. Just nothing. I typed back. Thank you for telling me, but I can't help him. She replied, he's not asking you to fix it. He just needs someone to talk to. You were always the smart one with money. You could just... I stopped reading. I put down my phone. And I went back to sanding the coffee table, choosing the smoothness of the grain over the jaggedness of the past. 2 days later, the doorbell rang, and everything escalated again. I looked through the peephole. Ryan and his father. I didn't open the door, but I didn't walk away either. I cracked it just enough to see both their faces. His dad cleared his throat. Hannah, we need to talk. No, I said immediately. I'm not asking you to give him money, his dad continued quickly. I'm asking you to come with me to talk to her, to confront that woman. Maybe together we can convince her to return some of what she took. I almost laughed. Why would she listen to me? I asked. His dad's answer was painfully earnest. Because you're reasonable, you're calm, he respects you. Maybe she will too. She never respected me, I said, and neither did he. Ryan stepped forwards then, eyes red. I'll pay you $1,000. I stared at him. You just told me you have $35 left. My dad will pay, he whispered. His father sighed heavily but didn't deny it. I leaned against the doorframe, absorbing the absurdity. So let me get this straight, I said. You want to pay me to help you recover the money you gave to the woman you left me for because you can't afford a lawyer? Yes, Ryan said, voice breaking. No, I replied. His father tried again. What if we make it $2,000? What if you leave? I countered. Ryan's face twisted. You know what? I was wrong about you. You're cruel, vindictive. You're enjoying this. I'm not watching you suffer, I said. I'm just not stepping into the fire with you. His father put a hand on his shoulder. Come on, she's made up her mind. They left, Ryan crying, his father looking older than I'd ever seen him. I quietly closed the door and went back to my maple boards. The next day I woke to 16 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I blocked them all. Then 12 more came in. I blocked those too. Voicemails piled up, desperate and angry and pleading. I didn't listen. I didn't need to. I'd heard every version already. Later that night, my brother called again. Hon, you're trending. What? In the local Facebook groups, someone posted the whole situation. People are arguing about you. I exhaled. Great. Half the comments called me heartless, petty, ungrateful. The other half called him a fool, said he got what he deserved. I didn't engage. I didn't even open the post. I just kept sanding the table. The world was loud, but my world didn't have to be. The final spark hit a day later. Ryan emailed me. Subject, please read this. I almost deleted it, but something, morbid curiosity maybe, made me open it. It was long. Pages of apologies, regrets, memories, promises he wished he'd kept. Lines about how Vanessa manipulated him, how he didn't realize what he had until it was gone, how he missed our routines, our safety, our quiet life. And then, the real reason for the email. I need $8,000 to avoid bankruptcy. I promise I'll pay you $500 a month until it's fully repaid. Please, please help me. I sat with that email for a full hour. I read every line. I remembered our 8 years, our house, our plans, our almost family, the table I built, the nights I cried when he walked away. And then I remembered something simpler. He chose her, over and over. I typed one sentence. I wish you the best, but I can't help you. Please don't contact me again. And I hit send. I thought that email would be the end of it. It should have been. But life, especially the messy kind, rarely ends cleanly. That same evening, barely 2 hours after I sent my final reply, there was a knock at my door. Not frantic, not angry, just tired. I looked through the peephole. Ryan's father, alone. He stood there with slumped shoulders, holding a folded piece of paper in his hand. I hesitated, then opened the door halfway. Enough to talk, not enough to invite him in. Evening, Mr. Mitchell. He exhaled shakily. Hannah. We stood there in the quiet hallway, the fluorescent light buzzing above us. I'm not here to argue, he said, or to convince you. I know you made your position clear. Then why are you here? I asked. He extended the folded paper. A note, he said softly, if you'd be willing to read it. I didn't take it. He swallowed. Vanessa, drained him. He's ruined, Hannah. We don't know what to do with him. My wife is worrying herself sick. He barely gets out of bed. And I know you don't owe him anything. God knows he didn't treat you right at the end, but... He ran a hand over his face. He's still my son. It was the kind of heartbreak no one warns you about. The way responsibility clings to parents long after their children stop deserving blind loyalty. I understand, I said quietly. His eyes shined with tears he refused to let fall. If there's any compassion left in you, please reconsider helping him. Not financially, just talk to him. Let him hear something other than his own guilt. I stayed silent. Not cold, just firm. Because sometimes silence is a boundary. Finally, he nodded, defeated. All right, I hear you. He placed the folded note on the floor just inside the doorway and stepped back. Take care of yourself, Hannah. You too, I said. When he left, I stood staring at the folded paper like it might burst into flames. Then I bent down, picked it up, unfolded it carefully. It said, I'm sorry for everything. Ryan. 3 sentences. 3 years' worth of too late honesty. I folded it back up and threw it in the recycling bin. That was the last time I saw him in person. The next morning, my phone exploded. 17 missed calls, 10 texts from unfamiliar numbers, even a message from someone I barely knew, a cousin of Ryan's. Everyone begging, pleading, bargaining. Just help for 1 month. Just a loan. Just talk to him. Just soften your heart. And when I didn't respond, how can you sleep at night? You're cruel. You're heartless. You're punishing him. I blocked every number. I turned off notifications for unknown callers. I put my phone on silent. And for the first time in months, my apartment felt peaceful. Not quiet. Peaceful. There's a difference. My therapist once told me, boundaries will feel like cruelty to those who benefited from your lack of them. I didn't understand that until now. Now it feels like a mantra. Life moved around me. The news kept coming about Vanessa. The investigation spread across 3 cities. 15 victims became 19. 800,000 in losses became 2 million. Her schemes spanned state lines, bank fraud, identity fraud, investment fraud. People in my social circle shared articles like gossip confetti. Some whispered that Ryan must be humiliated. Others said he got what he deserved. Most people didn't know what to think. I didn't participate. I didn't even read the comments. I had wood to sand, clients to meet, and a life to rebuild. The woodworking co-op became my sanctuary. I finished the walnut coffee table with its delicate inlays and delivered it to the client. She cried when she saw it. I never knew custom furniture could feel emotional, she said, running her fingers along the edge. It's personal, I said. It stays in your life longer than most relationships. She laughed, not knowing the irony. She ordered matching end tables. Someone else asked about a kitchen island. A young couple wanted floating shelves. My calendar filled 6 weeks out. The co-op owner asked if I'd consider teaching a beginner's class. Me, teaching. It felt surreal and perfect. The more I shaped wood, the more it shaped me. Slowly, patiently, into someone new. One afternoon, I checked my messages for the first time in days. There was one from the realtor who bought our old house. She'd passed my number to the new owners, a young couple with a baby. The message said, "Hi Hannah, we wanted to let you know the dining table that came with the house is beautiful. Our daughter's high chair fits perfectly with it. It already feels like the heart of our home. Thank you." Attached was a picture. The table, my table, sitting in a bright kitchen with white cabinets, sunlight pouring across its grain, a baby reaching out with chubby hands to grab her father's sleeve. A real family, a new life, a table that outlived an entire relationship. I didn't tell them I built it. I just typed, "I'm glad it found a good home." And I meant it. As for Ryan, I genuinely hope he gets help. I hope he climbs out of the crater he helped dig. I hope he learns something from all this, or at least stops looking for shortcuts. But I won't be part of that journey. My life is smaller now, simpler, but also fuller in ways I didn't expect. I have sawdust in my hair more often than makeup on my face. I have friends who know me as the woman who makes tables, not the woman Ryan left. I have peace, even on the days it feels fragile. And sometimes that's enough. Actually, it's more than enough.